So this is, I'm going to do a bit of a voiceover here of my jam making. I've got a couple of different kinds. This happens to be President's Choice fruit, frozen fruit just from the grocery store. This recipe takes about 2 cups of fruit. Now because there's lots of air pockets, I put in up to the level of about 3 cups. And the recipe technically does say not to puree it. It's really up to your preference. You know, what does your family like? What do your kids like? I know certainly my kids don't like big chunks of fruit, so I go ahead and puree it to a decent amount. Takes a bit of doing because it's all frozen, of course. I could let it defrost, I suppose. The original recipe calls to simply take a potato masher to it and mash it into whatever size chunks you want. Now, this recipe calls for 2 cups of fruit settled down and 3 cups of sugar. The less sugar you use, the runnier it's going to be, so it's not going to be as thick if you use less sugar. I don't have a problem. I'm not going for some low carb or low sugar or whatever jam here. I'm just going based on the recipe. And that's all it is, fruit and sugar there. So I toss it all in, trying to get the last little piece of fruit in there. This doesn't require any extra water. It does say you can put some lemon in. I actually didn't happen to put lemon in this particular time, but it just gives a bit of a tang to it to go along with the sweetness. That's what it looks in there. That's what it looks like together in there, I should say. Just dumped in basically the 2 ingredients. I'm taking it over to the bread maker here. Now, my bread maker has a jam setting, so we'll go ahead and put the bread pan in there, and then you see number 8 there is the jam recipe. This one's got all the regular other ones, the dough and the French bread and all that sort of thing. So I'll go ahead and set it to the jam cycle. Now you can use any bread maker, but most older bread makers don't have a jam recipe, so you have to do a bit of a hack with them. You use the kind of the regular bread making recipe, and you have to time. You have to put it in there and let it mix, but stop it manually prior to it actually going into its baking cycle. But the jam recipe is just an hour and 5 minutes. It simply mixes it up and then gets it basically to a boil for 50 minutes or whatever it ends up being. So it's just mixing up the 2 ingredients here, super simple, and then I'll pan away here and just let it go. Can't really see through my dirty little window there. Now I'm getting the jars ready. I'm going to boil some water up here, and I'll soon put them in once it's boiling. So there's 5 minutes left on the jam cycle here. Just have a look. So it's all bubbled up. It's all liquefied and mixed after being in there for an hour. And the water's boiling now, so I'm going to drop in my jars. I'm sure I'm not doing it the technically correct way, but yeah, it works for me. I haven't had a problem. I'm just rotating them to get them all well soaked in the boiling hot water. They're in there for about a minute or 2 real time, so it's killing any germs that are on it. And I got the lids in there too, obviously. So I'll let them sit in there and boil away. Now this recipe, I did have to switch it to kind of a regular size jar and a smaller jar. I didn't quite make enough in the jam maker, but I'll show you in a sec here. So here it is, taken out of the bread machine. Now I'm going to pour it into the jars. Like I said, I did later choose to put it in a regular size and a smaller jar, just because of the amount. I'll probably put a bit more fruit in the next time, fruit and sugar, and make a bit larger of a recipe. There are some chunks of fruit in there that didn't get totally ground up, and that's fine. You know, we either eat them or pull it out and toss it away if the kids don't eat it or whatever. There's not that many big chunks. This was a lot more pureed than some of my other stuff. And here's what it looks like once I got the lids on. You'll see I used a smaller jar there, but that'll sit there. The lids had popped 10 minutes after this, and that's it.